All right. The Sabbath day. Now, of course, this. Let me. Don't show this. Okay, there it is. It's Feast of Dedication from November 27th to December 4th. Some may put it on a later date. I guess according to whatever. I'm just gonna be honest. No high holy day is in sync 100%. Just like the Passover is not 100% in sync. In order to have a full synchronization of the Passover, you have to have the Ark of the Covenant, and none of us do not have the Ark of the Covenant. So, and only the Levite priests were able to touch the Ark of the Covenant. So, in order to the Levites to come back, they have to get out the voodoo witchcraft, which they're doing down in Haiti. When they get out of that madness, then the Ark of the Covenant will appear. And then, of course, we'll back to full synchronization. Then we will have no excuses whatsoever. Some people celebrate a week after this. Others will have scripture for it, which, of course, let's just, better yet, let's go to those scriptures. Actually, hold on. Better yet, let me do something here. Um, let me better yet, okay. Too bad I can't pause anything. Oh, that's unfortunate. Because I have to look on this calendar a little bit to look at the scriptures, of course. Um, let me see something here. Hold on for a second. Okay. Let me look. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Now let's go to First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 59. I don't know all the scriptures on the top of my head. I'm one of the first few to admit that I don't know all the scriptures or every scripture. I know some of y'all may have recalled more scriptures than others. Um, but I look at it this way: as a good memorizer of scriptures, are you following the scriptures? There's the difference. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 59. Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season for year to year by the space of 8 days from the 5 and 20th day of the month. Casaleo with mirth, and gladness. Okay. Let's go to Second Maccabees chapter 1 verse 18. Okay. Therefore, whereas we are now proposed to keep the purification of the temple upon the 5 and 20th day of the month, Casaleo, we thought it necessary to certify you thereof, that ye also might keep it as the feast of the tabernacles and of the fire which was given us when Nemus offered sacrifice, and he had builded the temple and the altar. Okay, let's go to John, St. John chapter 10, verse 22. And here is a better yet, this is what I'm also going to do for those Christians out there who believe Jesus was born on Christmas Day. Let's go to before I read that one, let's go to Luke 2:6. I'm just gonna give you a kicker. Okay. Let's start with verse 6. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished, and she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in the manger, because there was no room in the inn. And there were the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. Now, y'all say manger, and yeah, so he was born on Christmas Day. It does not say anything about Christmas Day. But here's what John 10:22 says about when Christ celebrated the Feast of Dedications. Here we go. John chapter 10, verse 22. And this is what your preachers don't listen. This is what your preachers don't teach or adhere to, because they want to keep the deception going on. They want to continue to keep that lie going on. Now, a number of them are just unlearned preachers. They've been to seminary school for years. They have learned all this stuff, allegedly mastered this stuff, and yet they couldn't even master about who is their true nationality, their heritage. They're being labeled as called African Americans. Now, African, actually, you break it down, is by the Roman general Leonidas Sempronius Africanus, who was a general who defeated Hannibal, who was black, at the Second Punic War, in which took over the land of Ham and named it after himself, Africa. The Bible also says that the heathen nations will name lands after themselves when they conquer them. Okay. Now there's argument between that, because some people don't want to interpret that way. They'll say, no, that's not true. It means something else. Yet they cannot provide proof whatsoever of their argument. Instead, they sit there and say, no, that's wrong. Well, prove it. I prove mine. How about you prove yours? Also, American is from Amerigo Vespucian, who beat Columbus to the punch when it came to naming the land. Otherwise, this country would have been called Columbia instead of America, like Amerigo Vespucian. But Columbus got sent to prison, okay, after his treachery and corruption. Of course, that's the serpent seed, the children of Satan, who is in works and operations, have been doing it for ages. And these are the same serpent children that have taken on Hanukkah and named it their dedication instead of the dedication of the Israelites. Yeah. So let's hit here. Verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication, that feast dedication, November 27th, December 4th, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Now, hold on. Let's go to Luke 2 and 8. And there was in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over the flock at night. It'd be virtually impossible for a shepherd to abide in the field at night when it's winter. These sheep would freeze to death. They would die. Okay? All right? The shepherd ain't got no dang business out there abiding in the fields at night in the dead winter. If Christ was born December 25th, Feast of Dedications is in December, and it was winter. Okay? And it said that, and exactly said that in St. John chapter 10, verse 22. So basically, John chapter 10, verse 22 defeats, destroys, and demolishes Luke 2, 6 through 8. Okay? It destroys that argument that Christ was born in December 25th. That is a bald-faced lie. Actually, there is someone else who was born December 25th, not Christ, but it was Ra, actually. Ra was born December 25th. Yeah, the Egyptian god. Ra. Yeah, these fallen angels, December 25th. Actually, that's their winter solstice of power. Okay? Feast of Dedication is early December. Christ, otherwise, it would have said it been about his time that he would have turned a new age, just like and um, let me show you something. There was a. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. Verse Luke chapter 2, verse 40. And the child grew and waxed strong in the spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. Now listen carefully. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. Hold on. Now, Christ was born on Passover, around Passover. April, probably between April 1st, between April 4th. Christ was born around Passover, and he died around Passover. See? See, even the same Gospel of Luke, the book of Luke, even defeats the part of he was born in December 25th. See, your people don't read. They read one scripture and say, Amen. No, you have to read all of it in order precept upon precept, word upon word, line upon line, here a little, there a little. That's how you got to read it. You have to read it that way. So Christ was born around Passover. He was not born on December 25th because John John 10 and 22 would have said it'll be around his time of age, but it's not. It's not saying that. Okay. So people say, well, why are you celebrating dedication? That's not your people. Yes, it is. Actually, it is. We are proven that in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 to 68. And if you look at the strength of these people, of the Israelites, because they weren't Jews. Believe it or not, these were Levites. Maccabees and Nathaniels were Levites. Actually, you want to be technical about it. Since we like to play technicalities. Technically, Judas Maccabeus is a Levite. He's a Haitian. And you know how Haitians are? They're fighting. I'm talking about they some violent people. Haitians are some violent people. Oh yeah, strong and violent. So um, let's go to Maccabees. Let's see. And I already told you how it came to be. Now let's just look in a little bit more here. And it happened. This was Maccabees 1:1. Now, this is something that they banned in Jamaica actually years ago, and then they lifted the ban of Maccabees. This is the reason why Mel Gibson did not get the support from the Jewish Hollywood groups because this would expose a lot of truths and expose a lot of lies that the so-called Jewish people have been putting out there for years. They have been deceiving. They have, tried to butcher the Bible, but it stands true. They killed King James, who was a black man, and he was not a homosexual, and he did not have sex with his mother because it's impossible for him to have sex with his mother when his mother was in prison when he was 2 years old, and she died in prison. Hmm? So how can he have sex with his mother and she only saw him when he was two? Hmm? And why did they label him a homosexual and they painted him a Caucasian image and made him look more effeminate? The original artworks of King James is a man with woolly hair, believe it or not. Why you think the books about King James, the true image of King James, is on the book of Amazon and Half.com? Why you think they're raising the prices on those things? Because at first there was no interest at all because we didn't know until we start realizing, saying, "Hold on, these are our people." That's when they start upping the rates and prices. Now, luckily, I like to show you something. It's me. Okay, I'm just accessing my tablet. And let me show you a little something. Just like to show you a little something. I like to show you the butchery, the debauchery that the Jewish people, as well as those who support them, uh, the lengths they will go to in order to destroy history, and to, of course, let me, okay, let me, okay, all right, let me, all right, let's, okay, oh, all right, let me see something here. Um, I'm looking. Okay, okay, all right, this ain't. Let's try this again. Okay, very interesting. It's not. I want to show you something from Kindle, but it seems like it's having some issues. Let me show you something. Well, bear with me for a second. Okay, let me hold up. Let's see what's going on here. Seems like Kindle does not want to work today. Don't know why. Okay, saying sync failed. Okay. Um, it's not. It's not. I want to go to the library. It's not letting me do that. Okay, we know that. I want to go to the. Okay. All right. Let's. It's not. It's not properly working. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Uh, all right. I want to show y'all some pictures. Let's see. Uh, I don't know what's going on with Kindle. I don't know what's going on with Kindle. I wanted to show y'all something. Okay. Okay, library. They won't let me go to my library. Uh, let's see. It won't. Okay, you know what? Just let me do something. Shut this off. I'll just have to show that to you another time because Kindle is refusing to cooperate, and I wonder why they're not cooperating too well when me. Because yesterday I was showing them fine. I just wanted to show you some images of the Israelites and how they disfigured their noses and their lips in order to say, well, it depreciated, etc. No, because you couldn't adjust the nose and the lips to your what they call Caucasian features. So instead, you just removed them or disfigured them to the point to say, well, it got corroded or whatever the case may be. Let's go to 1 and 1. Maccabees chapter 1, verses 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead and the first over Greece. And many made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Well, mainly because he called it disease because he was messing around with those boys. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, whatever, had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died. And his servants bare rule every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. Many years and evils were multiplied in the earth. So after the kingdom of Edom, or alleged Greece, evils multiplied the earth. So, Alexander's evil was no worse than the other his descendants' evil. So evils multiplied the earth. So after Alexander ruled, more and more and more and more sick, wicked evils and sins increased after Alexander, the Edomite kingdoms. And there came out a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king who which had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 130th and 7th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days there went there out Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are rounded about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Now, that has a believe it or not, um, people, your brothers like that, Tavis Smiley. You got Tavis Smiley, brother, talking about a covenant with black America, make a covenant with America, a covenant with America. I mean, you got these Negroes, Reverend Childress, you got Tavis Smiley, you got these so-called Negroes want to make a covenant with this country that took the land of the Native Americans, and y'all sat there and y'all ate Thanksgiving dinner in honor of the death of the Native Americans, and now you want to talk about you want to make a covenant with this country, you want to make a pact with the heathen nation? Are you kidding me? These, believe it or not, these are the same descendants. These are the same descendants, those Jews, those Israelites who were doing this. Tavis Smiley, the Reverend Childress, Tom Joyner, all these other guys, they're the same way. These are their ancestors right here. These ones out there that's going around making pacts and covenants with this country. Oh yeah. And you remember Louis Farrakhan? He threw that he kicked that book out. Even though I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he says, but you have to laugh at the fact Farrakhan at least had somewhat of a backbone to like say, man, I ain't making no covenant with this country. Throw the book and just throw the book. I tell you, and then Tyler Smile didn't want him on there because he know Louis Farrakhan will blast him. But it was funny. So this desire pleased him well. Then certain of the people were so for herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. So there was some of those out there who ran up there and said, you know what? We're gonna take one step further. We want to be just like you. And the heathen was actually pleased with this. He was like, I like you niggas. You's a good nigga. I'm telling you the truth. Yeah, he probably said you's a good nigga. And there was some good niggas. There was some honorary Negroes running after the heathen. I know some of y'all right now, y'all running after the heathen. Y'all want to look like the heathen. Y'all want to dress like the heathen. You want to act like the heathen. You want to talk like the heathen. I mean, we're not talking about those who excel in school and they're called white boys or white girls as they call them. No, we ain't talking about that. We talking about people who blonde their hair, who blue their eyes, who who perm their hair. The Al Sharptons perm their hair, put ambi cream on their face. Who how with a pinched nose. Yes, just like those Negroes on MSNBC. You got the pinched nose like they pinch nosed. They try to be like the other nations. You know what I'm talking about. They got ambi cream on their face, lighting their skin up, blonde their hair out, putting blonde highlight streaks on their head, blue eyes, contact lenses. It's just all kinds of madness. I mean, honestly. I mean, engage in their type of lifestyle, their behavior, their activities. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen. Your gymnasiums, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Now, so that means instead of obeying the Sabbath, adhering to laws, commandments, and statutes, they're out there, having a good old time, having, hanging around and partying, and like it's nothing. I mean, adhering to the Sabbath is basically, no cooking, of course, reflecting on the scriptures and the Most High. No spending, no purchasing. I mean, if it's like an emergency or something, there's grace behind it. Don't get me wrong. But if you're doing this every Saturday, you out there hanging out and partying, and doing crazy stuff, etc., not resting or anything, then there's going to be a time where grace is going to be out the window because of that. I mean, like I said, it's not doing work, no spending money. Okay. Let's see. No, none. No, things that you're not supposed to be doing. And now, before the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion of two realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great name, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him, and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got strong cities in the land of Egypt. He took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude, and entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar and the candlesticks of light, which is the seven candlesticks, the menorah, not nine like the Satanist Jews do, and a vessel thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the powering vessel, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the gold ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures, for he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having a great massacre, and spoken very proudly. Ain't that something? Demon. But and there's another argument. And I'm gonna hit the scriptures. I'm gonna hit the other scriptures, this one, and probably up to chapter um, probably up to chapter 4. I'm gonna tell you something. Now you got these Egyptiologists, these Afrocentrics. Now they claim that Cleopatra was black. Okay, and they say, well, according to the ISIS papers and the Book of the Dead and the hieroglyphics. I say, can you read hieroglyphics? If you barely can speak English, what the hell makes you think you can read hieroglyphics? Hmm? Now let's look up Ptolemy. Okay. Let's see. Let's look in here. Now Ptolemy, if you look at Ptolemy, all right, and you look at Cleopatra, and a lot of people say, "Oh, she was a black woman. She was a black woman. Yeah, yeah, she was black." Well, no, not exactly. Now, if you're looking at it as a biracial matter, yes. But if you're looking at it as the seed of the father, no. Okay, because they came from the seed line of Ptolemy. Because if it honestly, if it wasn't for Ptolemy, they wouldn't exist. So they came from the Greek seed line, Ptolemy. Because remember, they took over Egypt. They smitten Egypt. So yes, Cleopatra was biracial. Yes, she was biracial, uh, but she was still an Edomite. She still was an Edomite at the end of the day. Look at Bob Marley, for example. Bob Marley, he looked black. He was Jamaican. But if you look at him, his father was Esau. His father was an Edomite. His father was a British man. So that makes Bob Marley an Edomite. It's what your father is. It's not about this genetic mixing. Well, you got half this and half that. All that is confusion. All that brings is, and there's two reasons, two levels on it. One, it disguises their true heritage, especially the Jewish people. They're the ones that created this ideology. They're the ones that create this DNA test and all this stuff because what it does, it hides their true nature and their heritage from the other nations. So they can still claim they're Jews. And they always do it through the mother instead of the father. And the father end up being a German or Edomite or whatever the case may be. So, and number two, a lot of black people, especially, I'm just gonna be honest, especially black and Hispanic women, love using this 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 mixing. I'm mixed with Spanish, Portuguese, Kenyan. I'm mixed with Italian, Irish. See, they don't want to say they're Jews or they're Negroes or they're Puerto Ricans or whatever the case may be. They always want to say, well, I'm Spanish, Irish, Greek, Kenyan. I'm mixed with Aborigines. I like that's confusion. What it is that you're ashamed of your heritage because you don't know your heritage. When you know your heritage, you be proud of your heritage. That's why you see them lighten their skin up, blue in their eyes, blonde in their hair, straighten it out, and all this other stuff because they're not proud of who they are. Now, part of it has to do with the media and how people look at you and perceive you in negative light. And also, number two, it's about envy and self hatred amongst the other nation of women because you look at the other nation of women snatching up your man and your man, it's once again, the woman chooses who she wants to be with, not the man. So these other heathen women are snatching up your man, the man that you find of quality, and man ain't got no business doing that. But but just look at it this way: that's why these women, especially the black and Hispanic women, they go out there and they change their appearance to try to bring real back their men. Um, you know, but that's not working because why? The thing is, why deal with the imitation when you can get the real thing? Why deal with somebody who's got blue contacts and blonde hair and hair hats and lace fronts and wigs and all this other stuff when the man can just go and get this woman who has natural blonde hair and natural blue eyes. I'm not saying go out there and do it, but just look at it as an understanding why the sisters are losing big time because they're trying to look like the heathens. And let's go back to here. Here we go. Um, we're and they may and here we go and just like in the first Maccabees, whereupon they built the place of exile at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Certain other people were so forehead, they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. And they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. So that's what a lot of our women are doing now. They're accepting the ways of the heathen and they're taking it in and they're dressing like them. They're looking like them and they're trying to oppress them. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to oppress your oppressor by putting this stuff on. It does not make you beautiful. It actually makes you look disgusting. To that's not I know when I will get arguments with women all the time about these things. They will argue with me to the grave about these things like that. Well, it's my personal business. Okay, you know what? Well, you know what? When the time Christ comes, He's gonna put you to death, and I'm not gonna cry a river for you. Be less of y'all in the kingdom then, if that's the case. Let's go to verse 39. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feast was turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to this whole kingdom that all should be one people. Don't that sound like America? We should all be Americans. Hell no, we're not all Americans. If that was the case, slavery wouldn't have existed. And and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed, and according to the commandments of the king. So they say everyone should leave his laws. So it's making a lawless society, the spirit of Beliar. And yet many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned Sabbath. Now, there we go. Consented to his religion, because anything else outside the Most High is called religion. The Most High is not a religion. Believing in the Most High is not a religion. Believing in the Most High is your Father. I'm talking about to the Israelites. I'm not talking to the Gentiles. The Gentiles, you can choose to acknowledge and deal with the Most High. But us, we must come back and accept our Father, because we are His people. The other nations are not His people. The other nations just the other nations, and He doesn't consider them unless they come and accept His ways, like Cornelius, like Job, and like like Ruth, and like some others who have are not of the Israelites, decide to come and accept the ways of the gospel. And Christ was part of that extension to the Gentiles, even though He didn't teach the Gentiles, but He gave an extension to them. Um, so when they say give you extension to something, that means it never belonged to you, but you can actually edify by being a part of it, and also helping those Israelites who are lost, the lost sheep, to teach the gospel. Yeah, that's why it was given to you, because it was extended to you because you at the time are ruling. So if you have the ruling opportunity, you have an opportunity to teach the children of Israel to learn their heritage and their culture. That's why it's easier for those who are Israelite, for those Negroes who don't believe it. If I'm telling you who you are, you won't accept it. You will curse me out. You will say we're African Americans, we're Egyptians, we're Moors, we're Nuwabics, we're Afrocentrics, we're all this stupid nonsense. But when the so-called white man decides to tell you the truth about who you are, you accept it with open arms. Why is that? Why is it when the so-called white man, so-called white woman, let's just call it for what it is, because I know when I use Caucasian or Edomite, you will not understand what I'm saying. So let's call them the so-called white man, the so-called white woman. When they tell you the truth, that's like that lady Heather on YouTube, and she was telling that the Israelites are people of color, the so-called African Americans, and the 12 tribes, and the Puerto Ricans and all that stuff. And she's preaching that. I wouldn't say preaching, but she is, you know, providing the evidence. Okay, as they say, she's providing the evidence, and she's getting a lot of views. She's getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, and everybody and their mama coming up to say, "Praise the Lord, sister, amen." And you got some of her people cursing out, calling her a sellout, and all this other stuff. You're gonna have that all the time. Um, but when I speak this truth, and other brothers who look like me speak this truth, you curse me out. You Afrocentric Egyptiologists get into my face and rambling, go on a rant, and oh, you ham, you're all this. Hey, shut the hell up. That's your problem now. You don't listen to what your brother says, but you'll listen to what the other nations tell you. That's called slavery. And it's a shame that she had to come out and tell this to you, because I don't see a lot of our sisters doing that. No, they don't care, because when that truth comes in, what that does is questions actually it challenges their power over the man. That's right. When the truth comes, it challenges the power of the woman. So some of them are very slick. Some of these women who now believe they're Israelites, they're very slick. And believe it or not, there are a number of those slick women out there in those camps. Particularly, I'm just gonna tell the truth, because I love these brothers, the GOCC. There's a number of them who those sisters, they're slick. And I'm not saying it's their fault, because they're too busy doing other things. But there's some of these women on these search engine international radios I be listening to, and some of them on the chats and stuff. They don't believe it. They find it it's convenient way to get access to brothers. But in their hearts, they do not believe the truth, because number one, there would be certain things they wouldn't do. There would be certain things they would not say on the radio, or better yet, they would not even speak. They let their husbands talk in and speak instead, primarily. So you gotta be careful about some of those sisters out there who will, use this to their advantage, and then they don't like something they like. Now they're gonna say, "Oh, I'm a prophetess. Oh, I know the truth." And the Most High sent me, and they changed their name to Ahia and Yeshaya and all this other. It's all fanfare. That's why I call them instant internet Israelites out there. This all fanfare. Don't take it seriously whatsoever. Instead, they find it convenient to use that in a way to gain friendship on Facebook and Twitter. I don't have no friends on Twitter and Facebook because know why? I will never meet these people if I were to sign up to them. The only friends I have is I actually meet in person in the flesh. And there ain't very many of them. Y'all people, I tell you. Let's continue before I go off. And yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Yeah, Israelites. They weren't Jews, as many who consider Israelites. There was 12 tribes there. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. Verse 47, set up the altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. You know, a lot of Jewish people eat pig. A lot of the Jewish people eat pig. Even the Muslims, they may not eat it, but they sell it to you. Yep. Just another fact that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Now that the 5th day of the month Colasi in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar and builded idol altars throughout the city of Judah on every side. And when they had rent their pieces in the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any consented to the law, that the king's commandment was they should be put to death. So if you had the laws, commandments, and statutes, you was going to die. Now, today, you have these so-called Christians out there. Oh, we're being persecuted. Oh, yeah, we're a persecuted people. The Christians persecuted, Christians persecuted. Actually, that's not true. That's far from the truth. No, you play the persecution game because you're the ones that's provoking things. You're provoking stuff. You're talking about you're being persecuted. It's the same you groups of people that came to lands in the Renaissance and forced this Christianity upon nations that knew, like the Powhatan Indians, that knew who the Most High was and acknowledge him, and they obey the laws, commandments, and statutes. And you try to force this new doctrine upon them, this Christianity, and you burnt them at the stake. So why are you talking about the Christians are persecuted when all through the ages Christians have persecuted everybody? Come on, shut the hell up. And some of you Negroes that sit there and support this madness, this this nonsense, you know what? You gonna get yours too. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Now let's go to First Maccabees chapter 2. Start with verse 45. Then Matthias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. So Matthias said he had enough. He said, "To hell with this." So he pulled down the altars of the heathens, and then the children that they were uncircumcised, they circumcised them. They pursued and also utter a proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the laws out of the hand of the Gentiles, and out of the hand of the kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. And now when the times drew near that Matthias should die, he said unto his sons, Now have pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction, and a wrath of indignation. Um, and let's go to 65. And behold, I know that of your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always, and he shall be a father unto you. And as for Judas Maccabeus, he have been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain, and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. So yes, you can have vengeance. The Most High says, look, when something like that, when they taking something that belongs to you and try to force you to profane His word, yes, you take up your arms, you get ready to do some killing. That's just how it is. I know if you Christians that sounds harsh. No, we supposed to be love. It's about love. It's about love. It's about who you love. And that's why you have all these Israelites with these interracial relationships and all this other stuff. Oh, yeah, I love her. I love her. Yeah, she loves you too. She loves you because you know why? Because you packing this long. That's why she loves you. Otherwise, if you was like this, if you was like this, you think she would deal with you? Nope. You like this, she gonna deal with you. Just gonna tell you the truth. I know people saying, "Oh, temptation." Oh, shut the hell up. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabees, rose up instead, and all his brethren helped him. So did all they had held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. And laid open the and let's go to verse 48. This is how the wickedness of the heathen. This is the heathens right here. And they fasted that day, and they put sackcloth and cast ashes on their head, and rent their clothes, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So when Maccabees and them was trying to take back all their stuff, they opened the book of the law, and they saw that the heathen had painted the likeness of their images. So basically, when they saw the book and the original images were of their people, they didn't see of their people. They saw of the Romans and the Greeks. So they changed the images of the original people who were in the Bible. And you see that all the time. They are called iconoclastics. Verse 38, 32, on Maccabees chapter 4, verse 32. Make them to be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. No, that's not it. Here we go. Verse 42. So he chooses priests of blameless, converged conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleanse the sanctity and bear out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what they do to the altar of burnt offerings, which was profane, they thought it was best to pull it down, lest be shown to be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it, wherefore they pulled it down. Um, Maccabees is a long scripture, so I'm going to stop there and wish all a good Sabbath and the feast of dedication, the feast of Hanukkah. And don't let anybody, stray you from your true nationality. Don't let them try to seduce you into Egyptology, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, etc. Because that at the end, you know who you are. You're the Israelites. You're the 12 tribes, and it's the truth. It's the truth. I wouldn't be saying it if it ain't, but it's the truth. Okay. So I hope y'all can get an understanding of that. Actually, let me see if I can see if this works. Nope, it's not working. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Let me show you something. Finally got this to work. Okay. Now these are, let's see. Okay, let me. Now these are Syrians right here, And you see the curly hair, and if you notice carefully, look how they disfigured the noses and the lips. Okay. Once again, afro, afro with the disfigured lips and noses. Just to show you what the heathen has done. And this is once again, this is not racism or hatred. It's just truth. See that? There's another one. You see that? Why they disfigured the noses and the lips? Oh, it just it depreciated. Oh well, his hands is still intact. His hair is still intact. His eyes are still intact, but they took off the noses and the lips. You see that? That is wickedness. That is Satan. That is of the devil. And let's just tell the truth. And this is the uh, Atala Athena, 2nd century A.D., the goddess. You see that? Atala Athena. And let's look at here. Look at this. Look at this. They disfigured her. This is a Syrian lady. It's a black woman. Look at her. Look right here. Look at this. Why they disfigured the nose and the lips? Why? Why? I mean, if there was Caucasoid features, they would have kept them, but it's not. Okay, there's some more. Well, they couldn't disfigure that, so King Conan, and this is the Duro Yopos. Okay, it's in Syria. Okay, just showing you some biblical history. Priest Abel. Looks like he got a telescope or something in there. Well, the images got burnt down. King Conan, again, and you can look at him. Probably look like one of these brothers that they're walking down the street. Okay. The Hittites. So another one. Another Israelite. Something wrong with the candle store. Okay. Well, let's turn this thing off. But you understand what I'm saying. But like I said, happy feast dedication. Hope everything works out for you. And like I said, this happy Sabbath.